Siblings of psychopaths, what is your experience with them? My brother was diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder at 16. He's never had empathy. He hit and bullied others in school to get what he wanted. Doctors, therapists, medication. Nothing made a difference. When he was 10 he started taking and selling substances. At 11 he forced himself onto a girl in his class and threatened her not to report it or else he would do much worse. I only found this out from him when he got intoxicated and told it as a joke. My parents called our version of CPS for help when he was 11. He got more therapy, some inpatient stays and his own social worker. He stole my dad's car when he was 12 and got picked up by the cops. He got his first charges at 14. Substances and assault. My parents were at their wits' end and agreed to have him placed in a group home for troubled teens for a year. He was kicked out shortly before the year was up. He came home and seemed to recognize in a clinical, detached kind of way, that he couldn't go on like this without ending up in prison. He was about 15. He started being less violent, but he had insane delusions of grandeur and needed everyone to comply with whatever he wanted. If they didn't, he lashed out. My parents still made him go to therapy. He assaulted my dad and choked him because he didn't want to. My brother was 16, but also 6'3" and about 190 pounds. My dad died from a sudden aneurysm when he was 16, and he went off the rails completely. He got a 13-year-old girl pregnant and she was kicked out by her mom. My mom took her in. The girl was not a bad person, just had some issues, so it wasn't that surprising that she'd date my brother, who could be charming if his situation demanded it. He heard at our house a couple months later while she was still pregnant. That was the last straw for my mom. She kicked my brother out. We helped the girl to find an apartment for her and the baby. Unsurprisingly, my mom caved a short while later and let my brother move back in. He seemed to think he was the head of the household. My parents never married, so my father's modest possessions went to me and my brother instead of my mom, and that included the car my dad bought a year before he died. It was the first brand new car he ever bought, a small one, but he was proud of it. My brother made my mom sell it so he could get his half of the money. It wasn't even an expensive one, and my mom was devastated to lose my dead dad's little car. I was 20 then, my brother was 17. He was verbally mean and basically tormented my mom mentally. He threatened to hurt me on a daily basis whenever I didn't do something or give him something he wanted. He also threatened to end me a couple of times. One time he took some dope and tried to force himself onto our mother in the middle of the night. She found it in her to forgive him. The very next day he told my mom that he'd have no trouble getting a couple guys to run her off the road when she went out. When the threats got stale, he'd hurt me every couple weeks. There was one particular instance where I was actually afraid he was going to end me. He did his usual spiel of using me as a verbal punching bag because he had a bad day, and I was just burnt out, didn't even react anymore. He hit me a couple of times and choked me. No idea how, but I fought him off, grabbed my phone and ran to the bathroom where I locked myself in before he could get to me again. He was trying to beat down the door while I called the cops. The cops did nothing, told me he lived there, so we'd have to get along, and since we both said opposing things, nothing would come of it. I insisted they take my statement. My mom wasn't home at the time, but she was a wreck anyway and couldn't deal anymore. A couple days later, my aunt came to visit for a couple of days. My brother was his charming, manipulative self for her. My aunt tried to pressure me into not pressing charges, since apparently I gave myself the dozens of bruises and contusions I had, as my brother had told her. I wanted to take my own life at that point and gave my mom an ultimatum, me or him. She kicked him out again. He came back a year later, and I moved out for college immediately. I don't blame my mom much anymore, rock and a hard place and all that, but she never could understand the fact that her love for her son was misplaced. He didn't have the things that made someone human. He went to Spain when the mother of his daughter tried to get child support. For some reason, his ex-girlfriend started letting him see his daughter, and the daughter flies to Spain with my mom once or twice a year to see him. Or used to. Anyway, she did this until he locked her in the basement in his house in Spain.